Morning guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. With the teams in the Americas getting ready for the upcoming season, lots of thoughts coming out of JohnQT on the way that Sentinels are prepping for the upcoming year, while he's pretty optimistic about what they can do with that roster. 100 Thieves also getting some good practice in as well. Cryo back on the chamber. Could that be a sign of something to come? Very much enjoy your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. Plenty to dive into. We're going to start here. Game Changers World Championship continues. SRG got that 2-0 win. They closed out the Corrode 13-10 after a 13-1 on the Pearl, which was MIBR's pick. So again, SRG going here very heavily as the favourites. Neuer was looking especially good yesterday as well. This is the way the bracket looks then. So G2, they took down Nova Esports. So it's G2 versus G2 Ghost versus Team Liquid in the upper semi-finals. SRG versus Carmine Corps coming up in a couple of days' time. Before then, though, we have to get through some losers bracket games as well. This is, well, a couple that are currently ongoing. Zip2 Esports versus Ninetales is currently a 1-0, and it's very early in the second side. So that is how things look at the Game Changers World Championship. For now, as I say, SR looking pretty good. Still possibly a bit of a wide open tournament. A little bit too early to say anything concrete as it stands. Another interesting couple of scrim bucks coming out. We saw some very interesting developments yesterday with various teams. This is another one. We've got Honey Bunny, Absol, Sugar Zero, Yatsuka and Eco playing here for Zeta. Will that be their final iteration, what they go for? Because we know that they had a pretty good time of things recently. They turned up to the Red Bull home grounds. They looked surprisingly competitive. Then things kind of collapsed. So lots of questions in that region. What's going to happen next? Also some talk about where Munchkin might potentially go. We saw yesterday there were maybe some rumors that, well, who knows, maybe DFM or something. There are some little bit of talk about that at the moment. We did see some confirmations as to players going yesterday. So Crew confirmed that Mazzino is gone. So yeah, interesting stuff. Of course, Mazzino, bit of controversy around him and this team and everything lately. We know that Crew are looking to move in a different direction. We think Sarek might be coming in. We think that Les might be coming in as well. So some questions on how they were going to round out the roster from there. But yeah, Mazzino out the door. They say, you know, Crew legend. He's been there a lot of time. He's seen plenty of success alongside that organization for some time, represented the team for a long time, but he won't be there any longer. They still say this will always be your home and all that. True pleasure for you to be here and all this, but you know, clearly they want to, or Sadak wants to, whatever, move in a different direction. It was also confirmed that BBL are letting go of Jampi and Profec, so they're gone. We're pretty sure that they're going to be over to Vitality right for the upcoming season, although we did see some scrims that they were playing yesterday and it weren't looking especially good. Jampi, Profec, it was, well, Sayonara was spotted playing with him, which was interesting because he is not yet 18, and then Durka and Chronicle, that is the team of 5, but as of yesterday's scrim results, maybe something to think about there. The other big update is what's happening with Edward Gaming. So there's a new player, CB, who has been added to their team with a 2028 season ends contract. Now, I do find Edward a confusing organisation. They won the World Championship. Last year it was understandably going to be somewhat dramatic because it always is. You win champs, there's always problems, right? I mean, maybe NRG can avoid it this year because they've already replaced Som because he's retired, but in the grand scheme of things, the teams that win champs tend to have issues in the following year. You see it in almost every esports, even sports, certainly in Valorant. That's been the case over the last few years, as we well know. So Edward, last year they won the World Championship. They turned up to this season 2025. There was the drama with Simon. Simon was gone. They brought in Jenny, then they tried around with XJC, Alphabet Man, then they dropped him. They brought Jenny back again. Didn't really change their fortunes. They turned up to the World Championship and were not particularly a factor. They're changing out their coach as well. They're bringing in former T1 head coach Autumn, I think, getting rid of their, you know, Muggle, right? That was their previous head coach. So they're making some serious changes. CB's on Nova Esports for the last couple of years. They've now got 7 players on their team, Edward. So what are they cooking? I don't know. I can't tell you the answer to that. All I can say is that they've signed him on the database for 3 years, which is like, why? That's the part that's confusing to me. The 2028 season ends. He's not played for Edward yet. It might not work, right? So why? I don't know. Unless the terms of their deal and their arrangement allow it to be pretty easy for them to terminate the contract, it just feels, unless they really think this guy is the truth and like he's going to completely turn around their organization, maybe they get it right. But it's just an interesting decision, right? You're signing an additional player, another man on the team, and no real clue or guarantee yet what's going to happen with the starting spot. The guy might be stuck on the bench for 3 years. Who knows? Confusing decision, I thought, on that front, but intrigued to your thoughts in the comments. We also had the monster Rosters Reloaded 2025 tournament that was going down. We had a couple of interesting games. We had FUT Esports versus Fenerbahce. They took the 2-0 dub. Of course, FUT Esports, well, it's Turkish players as always, as you might expect here. And yeah, FUT Esports get the 2-0 victory. The Corrode was pretty competitive. It was in the end of 16-14 after a big overtime. But yet again, the guys, they get the job done. It's interesting because, you know, FUT Esports considered to be pretty competitive when it comes to, well, the Turkish region. But all of a sudden this year, there are plenty of Turkish players in consideration with plenty of other organizations too. And this was Gentlemates, their first outing with their new team, getting, well, they got slapped around here by CGN Esports with Wolfen and co. So yeah, not a great start for Gentlemates at all. Again, I looked at this roster and I was like, it's certainly interesting, but yeah, that doesn't necessarily mean good. And early doors, maybe that will turn out to be true. 100 Thieves also playing in another one of these type of tournaments, the Fun Habit tournament that we saw yesterday, and they noted that today they will be streaming these just for 100 Thieves, because 100 Thieves is the most notable team that's playing in this one, so people want to watch their play. So I thought that was pretty cool to see anyway. They did get a 2-0 dub against Kraken Seas yesterday, and well, they cracked him pretty bad. Cryo on the chamber, both maps here. So, you know, Vora, Timotino, Cryo, Asuna, Bang. How good are they going to be? Time will tell. But Cryo on the chamber, both maps, pretty interesting. Again, they're playing against, you know, it's not tier 1, it's not tier 2, it's probably not even tier 3. I mean, you know, we've got this boy Monkey Business, so, you know, it's quality stuff, isn't it? It really is quality stuff. But it's cool to see 100 Thieves playing this tournament, because they at least gain, I think, quite a lot out of this, and at least they get to play, and I think we'll get to see all of their games streamed anyway going into the grand finals. So this is how things look elsewhere. There's also some other competitive teams, as I mentioned, that T-Dog team yesterday that's also worthy of note. So, you know, some notable players enough in here, but of course 100 Thieves you'd expect to make a run. That is what they have done so far, and as we said, Cryo on the chamber. In fact, it wasn't just that series, it was plenty of other maps and other series as well that Cryo has been running the chamber, so maybe that feels like the way that the meta is going, certainly for that 100 Thieves lineup. The other thing that's worthy to note as I share this JohnQT clip from Sentinels in a second is what's happening next. So we've got the Sin Invitational, December the 4th through to the 6th, that's been confirmed the other day. Rob Moore even confirms in the replies that 100 Thieves will be there. So excited for that. Now, how many teams are going to be there? The other times they've done these tournaments, usually only like 4 teams. Could be more this time, who knows? But yeah, Rob says we're limited by which teams aren't on break right now, but we do have one spot that is still open. So there will be some interesting teams in attendance. Thought that's pretty exciting to see. But as I say, let me share what JohnQT had to say on the current roster situation. They've been getting the practice in. They've been trying their best to, well, improve over the last few days. We know that they looked pretty good in the first couple of tournaments they played, the Sensitive Classic, then they went to the Red Bull Homegrounds and, you know, they were okay, didn't quite get the result that they would have wanted, but JohnQT believes there's plenty of room for improvement with this team, and he thinks they're going to get there.
Yeah, it definitely feels different. This is like the first time I'm the oldest player on the team since I started playing. Definitely it does feel different, and to be like the most experienced player on the team too. It's fun. It's just like keeps it fresh, and it's just like a different aspect of the roster. Just like kind of like showing the guys how it's done, and like making sure they're comfortable, and just like sharing my experience. It's like I've been like pretty much through it all at this point, and it also makes me like enjoy things more, because like I'm able to enjoy it through like new lenses, like through new experiences for them. So yeah, it's been a fun experience so far. Yeah.
So very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. How are Sentinels going to get on this season? How are they going to perform? We mentioned earlier with the drama with regard to Edgewood and whether there could be more to see on that front going forward in the World Champions. Marder actually came out and said that champs is not the ultimate goal. For me, it's the first step. I don't want one title. I want a legacy. We've got a new fifth now, new chemistry, get comfortable as a group. So, you know, Marder has seen Ethan now win 2 World Championships and he's not happy with 1. He wants to go for multiple. So that takes a lot. I mean, yeah, good luck. Basically, it's incredibly challenging to make that happen again. Not to say that NRG couldn't be capable of something pretty remarkable. We've seen Ethan now win a couple of World Championships a couple of years apart. So far from not possible, but I think NRG, in theory, this is the right mentality, right? It's like, okay, we've not achieved what we wanted to achieve. We've simply achieved, you know, a great achievement, but it doesn't mean that that's going to define our team and that's going to be the be all and the end all. And now we're just going to ride it into retirement, right? That's clearly certainly not the way that these players should think. It's certainly not the way that Marder thinks. I think that's going to be an advantage for them in the grand scheme of things, but also, you know, it maintains the level of pressure, maintains the level of tension potentially if things don't go to plan, which also has its own consequences in terms of if there are underperformances. So very much enjoyed your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comments below. There's also this tournament coming up soon, the Project Blender tournament, ULF, BBL, Vitality, Pacific, Na'Vi, all going to be there. A ton of Turkish players across those respective teams, so we will get to know what the Pacific roster is going to be at that point as well. So very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.